My wife always cries in her sleep once it's midnight. The first time I heard her cry in her sleep, I thought it was just a dream. I used to believe I knew everything about her. We've only been married for 3 weeks, but during courtship, we talked about everything. Her favorite meals, her likes, her goals, what made her laugh, and the little things she enjoyed doing. She's everything a man could pray for. Beautiful, soft-spoken, intelligent. During the day, she's full of life. She dances in the kitchen while making breakfast, calls me my king. She would hold my hand and say, "Solomon, I'll choose you 1,000 times over, in this life and the next." And I would smile and reply, "Keturah, I'll be with you, now and forever." I believed her, until the night started speaking louder than her words. It started slowly. I would wake up in the middle of the night and hear her crying softly. She was asleep, but tears were rolling down her face. Her body shook lightly, like someone trying to hold something in. One night, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I gently tapped her. Her eyes slowly opened. Before I could say a word, she asked, "Why are you not sleeping?" Her voice calm, as if nothing strange had just occurred. I was speechless. The same face that had been soaked in tears now looked soft, calm, and glowing. I didn't even know how to ask. It felt like the moment had simply vanished. But it hadn't, because every night, it happened again and again. Sometimes I heard whispers like, "Give me some time." I would turn toward her, but her face was peaceful. The room quiet again. I started to wonder, was I just imagining things? Was I overthinking, or was something really wrong? One morning, I finally asked, "Are you okay?" She smiled and touched my cheek. "Of course I am, darling." I looked at her closely and asked, "Do you know that you cry in your sleep?" She looked confused. "Cry? Me? No, I don't cry in my sleep. Are you sure you weren't dreaming?" I wanted to believe her, but something inside me whispered, "You're not dreaming." So last night I made up my mind. I wouldn't sleep. I needed answers. I couldn't keep living like this. I lay beside her, pretending to be in deep sleep, my eyes half open. She turned and looked at me, trying to check if I was sleeping. Then, at exactly 2:14 a.m., she shifted away from me, adjusted her pillow, and turned to the wall. And then, the light in the room went off. Episode 2. If she cries in her sleep again tonight, then I need answers, or this marriage can't continue. I whispered to myself, fear already weighing on my chest. I had left the light on, but it had gone off unexpectedly at midnight. I took a slow, deep breath and stayed still. The room was silent. No light, no sound, but my eyes were wide open in the darkness. It felt like the room was empty. Still, then I heard her shift gently on the bed. And then, that silent cry again. She whispered, "I'm tired. I'm sorry." "No, leave him." I leaned in closer, trying to catch every word. Leave him? Who was she talking to? Who was she talking about? I sat up quickly and reached out to tap her. But I touched nothing. She wasn't there. The space beside me was empty. Panic set in. I reached for my phone to use as light, but it was gone. Just before I could call her name, I felt something climbing up my leg. "Mumimo, awomo!" I shouted and jumped. I didn't even know how I reached the door. I ran out of the bedroom and shut the door behind me, sweating, shaking. I leaned in, trying to hear what was going on inside. Then I heard a voice, soft, calm, coming from the living room. "My king," she said. "Why did you rush out of the bedroom? Is anything wrong? You're sweating." I turned around slowly. There she was, sitting in the living room, calm, holding her cup of tea. I wiped the sweat off my forehead and stepped closer. This wasn't funny anymore. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "We were both lying down. How did you get out? Why is there light here, but darkness in the bedroom?" She smiled. Honey, I felt cold and came out to make some tea. Do you care for some? Katura, I called her name firmly. What is going on in this house? She stood up and touched my arm. Relax, she said. Maybe you need a checkup. You've been overstressing your brain. Enough, I shouted. I need answers. Who are you really? Then a sound came from the bedroom. It was soft, just like her voice, and it was calling my name. I turned to look toward the door, then back at her. But her expression had changed. That sweet smile was gone. I reached for the torchlight nearby. I'm going to check that room, I said. Stop, she said. But I ignored her. It's time to find out. As I stepped forward, her voice came again, but this time, firm. It was deep like a man's voice. Stop! I froze. My legs shook. That wasn't Katura's voice. That was a man's voice. I didn't know whether to turn around to see what I had just heard. Then I saw a stick resting by the dining table. For a moment, I paused. Should I pick it? Or would that only make things worse? Episode 3. Still confused on what to do, the sound from the bedroom grew louder. It wasn't just any sound. It was a soft cry, calling my name. And it was my wife's voice. I couldn't go into the bedroom. That mysterious, deep voice behind me had warned me not to. I could feel something there, right behind me, but I couldn't even turn to see who or what it was. Fear held me tight. Then, something inside me screamed, "Run! Run now!" Run? I whispered to myself. Before I could think further, the light in the living room suddenly went off. With every bit of strength left in me, I ran. I threw the door open and took off, barefoot, into the street. I was running like an antelope. I left everything behind, my home, my wife. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted to stay alive. I ran until my legs couldn't move again. I found a tree and sat under it, panting and confused. What is really going on in my life? I asked. She always denied crying in her sleep. But tonight, when I tried to uncover the truth, strange things started happening. And to think we've only been married for 3 weeks, I was still worrying when sleep took over, right there under the tree. When I woke up, it was already past 9 a.m. I looked around. I was far from town. I stood up, dusted my clothes, and started tracing my way home. It was bright now. I made up my mind. My wife and I must talk. I thought I knew her. But now I'm not so sure. When I reached the house, the front door was wide open. Surprised, I stepped in. Just then, my mother-in-law came out, holding a small bag with Katura's clothes and a food flask. "Good morning, Ma," I greeted, confused. She didn't answer. She stopped and stared at me with eyes I couldn't explain. "What's going on?" I asked. "Where are you taking my wife's clothes? Where is she?" The way she raised her voice, it was like I had pressed a loud radio. "I thought you were a responsible man. You came to my house acting gentle and caring, but now I see the opposite." "Mommy, please, calm down. What happened?" I asked, confused. "What happened?" she repeated. "Where were you when your wife needed you the most? You ran away. Now she's in the hospital. I hope you're satisfied." "Hospital?" I stood there, speechless. She hissed and walked past me, then turned around and said, "She's at Montana Hospital. I expect to see you there." And she left. So many questions filled my mind. My wife never said anything about being sick. What exactly happened to her last night? And how did my mother-in-law know? I looked around. Everything seemed normal, until I entered the bedroom. The bedsheet looked rough and a bit stained. I ignored that. My only focus was getting to the hospital. I quickly changed clothes and rushed out. When I got there, I asked the nurse at the counter, "Excuse me, please, my wife was admitted here. Her name is Katura. What room is she in?" She looked at me, shook her head slowly, and sighed. Men. Anything that wears skirt, they just follow. I frowned. What do you mean? She waved it off. Not from my mouth, you'll hear it, oh. Please, I beg. Her room is 102. Follow that hallway. I turned in the direction she pointed. Then I saw my mother-in-law standing down the hallway making a call. I nodded my head and said, "Oh, see my mother-in-law. Thanks, nurse." But the nurse said something that froze me in place. Mother-in-law, Kay? Mother of who? I looked at her again. What do you mean? Do you know her? When I got to room 102, I paused at the door. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't seen Keturah since that night. My heart beat fast as I pushed the door open. There she was, Keturah, lying on the hospital bed. She looked pale, weak. Her braids were scattered across the pillow. The nurse beside her adjusted her drip and left without saying a word to me. "Keturah," I called softly. She opened her eyes slowly. When she saw me, she turned her face away. "I'm sorry," I said. "I was scared, but I should have stayed. I should have protected you." She didn't respond. "Keturah, what's going on? I heard your voice in the bedroom last night. You were crying. You called a name." Her eyes shifted toward me. Finally. "A name?" she said, voice low. "What name?" "You said, 'No, leave him. I'm sorry.' You sounded like you were begging someone." She turned her face back toward the wall. "You shouldn't have come." "Keturah, talk to me. I deserve the truth." "Sile." Then she whispered, "His name is Darian." I blinked. "Who's Darian?" She shook her head slowly, like someone trying to fight off a memory. "Is he someone you know?" I asked carefully. Her voice trembled. "He's not supposed to be here. I didn't call him. He finds me every night." The lights in the hospital room flickered slightly. Goosebumps ran down my arms. "You're scaring me, Keturah." She looked at me again. "You should leave before midnight." I laughed nervously. "This is a hospital. What can happen?" She reached out and held my hand tightly. "Please, Solomon, if you stay, he'll see you too." Just then, her mother entered the room, holding a black bag. She paused when she saw me. "You're still here?" she said coldly. "You've done enough damage." Keturah looked at her. "Mama, please, not now." I stood up. "You both know what's going on, and I'm gonna find out, because whatever this thing is, it followed us into this marriage." Her mother's face tightened. "Then prepare yourself, because tonight, you'll meet him." I didn't leave the hospital. I waited. Even when Keturah begged me again, even when her mother hissed and stormed out, I stayed. I needed the truth. By 11:30 p.m., the hospital was quiet. Keturah was asleep again. I sat in the chair beside her bed, the torchlight from my phone on the table, just in case. Then it started. First, the soft crying. Her shoulders moved gently. Then her mouth opened. She was whispering again. "No, I'm sorry. I told you to leave. He doesn't deserve this." I leaned in. "Keturah, wake up, please." Then the lights flickered and went off completely. Only my phone light was on. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed from the corner of the room. "She told you to leave." I turned the light in that direction. Nothing. Just the chair. Then I saw Keturah's face. Not crying. Smiling. But not her usual smile. Her eyes were wide open now, staring at me. From her mouth, in a deep man's voice, I jumped up. "Stop this, Keturah. Whatever this is, stop." Her body sat up slowly, like something was lifting her. Then she said, still in that deep voice, she broke her promise. She said she'd let me go, but she married you instead. I backed away. "Who are you?" She chose love over loyalty, and now I'll take her back. No, I said. Take me instead. Let her go. There was silence. Then, laughter. She's already mine. The lights came on. Keturah dropped back into the bed like dead weight. Nurses rushed in. Her mother ran in too, holding a strange black necklace in her hand. She wore it? She shouted. No, I said. She didn't wear anything. The woman knelt beside Keturah, placed the necklace on her chest, and started praying in a strange tongue. Keturah gasped. Her eyes opened. The deep voice was gone. She looked at me. This time, it was really her. She said just one word. Thank you.
Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories like this.